Okay, I'm Scooter Ward from Cold. Uh, we're on tour right now in the States with Orgy. Um, they are doing Candy S anniversary tour, and we're about 8 shows in. It's going really well.
Very good, mate. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
No worries. So, Cold will be touring Australia for the first time ever this October, starting in Melbourne on October 25th and then hitting Sydney and Brisbane over consecutive nights, mate. Like, you guys have been around since 1986 and this is your first visit to Australia. So, why have you neglected us for so long?
Ah, Honestly, it's been kind of hard to get over there. We were switched around on different labels, and we'd always wanted to come. However, you know, the powers that be want you to play in designated areas. So
Yeah.
we had always wanted to be there. However, it just never turned around. Now we're more free to do what we wanted to do. And yeah, we had the opportunity. So we took it.
Cool. And you're going to be celebrating 20 years of your album, Year of the Spider. So, does that mean that you're going to be playing the album in full or just a large chunk of it?
We're still going through that. I know we were going to talk to the Orgy guys about it. The thing about it is we've never played there before, and we have all this catalog of music that people love from other records as well. So the hopes would be to do Year of the Spider in its entirety, and then do some extra songs as well for people. So that's the goal. We'll see how that works out.
Right. So if you do decide to do that album in its entirety, mate, like it's how difficult is it to replicate a whole album live? Like when you first wrote it, I couldn't imagine you ever thought you'd be playing the whole thing one day. So are there bits and pieces that are hard to reproduce?
Not really. I mean, throughout the years of touring, we've replicated those songs many times in different tours and different settings. And initially when the record was put out, we did a Year of the Spider tour. We played all the songs in its entirety. Um, so yeah, we're familiar. The band's familiar with all the songs, and we had just did a Year of the Spider tour here in the States. So we did 58 shows. So yeah, we're very in tune with that record right now.
Oh. And being your first time over here, mate, like I couldn't imagine there'd be many places in the world you haven't been to before. So when you come in somewhere like this for the first time, like do you do your research? Do you ask people what to expect or what to do or what not to do, or do you just come in cold?
I mean, we did have some friends from Saliva that had played over there once, and we were there's little things that are different without tour buses and flying from show to show and things like that. Just basically the production parts of it all that we were unfamiliar with that we're kind of excited about because that's kind of nice. And cramming everything. Well, I mean, we're doing 3 shows and basically it's a 5-day trip. So it's a long weekend. We do 3 shows, fly from place to place and bust it out, So
No time for
that
fun.
could be a little different for sure.
The flip side of that, mate, is Australian fans won't know what to expect from you either. So, run us through like a typical cold live show, if there is any such thing.
I can. Cold show is definitely it's like an emotional journey for people. We take them to a place. When I wrote those songs, I was going through a hard time, and they're all very honest songs. So I transport myself back into that place when I wrote that songs, and it translates to people that are watching the show, and it brings them. I try to bring them back to those moments when they needed that song to help them go through whatever they went through, and if the song helped them out, sometimes it becomes an over emotional thing, and the whole crowd sings all the songs with us, and there's a lot of tears and a lot of joy. It's just it's an experience when you come to a cold show for sure.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you're coming out with fellow legends Orgy, mate, who are celebrating 25 years of their album Candy Ass. So you guys have done a few shows together over there already now. Like, how's the dynamics between the two bands? Does it work well?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, me and Jay, we had toured with Orgy back in the day, back in the early 2000s, back when both bands were doing very well. And we'd been friends for a long time. So we had Cold had been touring again since 2018, pretty, a lot. And so Orgy had just started back kind of. They did some smaller tours, but they're getting back into it. And we joined up together to do this.
Cool. Now, going back in time a bit, mate, like you formed Cold back in 1986 in Jacksonville, Florida, mate. So what was the musical climate like that gave birth to the band, and where did you fit in initially?
I don't think we fit in at all. Back in Jacksonville at that time, I mean, we were kids. 86 was when we started. The band was called Grundig at that point. And we were like a slow, grungy type of thing. You know, the music was very slow and just heavy. We were trying to be like the Southern Black Sabbath kind of thing, more Soundgarden. Actually, when we first heard Soundgarden, we connected with that band because we were like, oh, they're doing it on the other side of the country. And so there, and also in Jacksonville, there was not really one type of music scene like there was in Seattle, where everybody was kind of a grunge band. And in Jacksonville, it was very diverse. We had Limp Bizkit, Shinedown, Cold, how Puddle of Mud. A lot of the guys came from there. You know, it was very diverse, different kinds of sounds coming out of that place. Every band's a little different, so it wasn't really a genre-based area.
And your debut self-titled album sold poorly, mate, which was more to do with the label closing down than the music. But at that early stage of your career, like, was it difficult for you guys to press on after that initial failure?
The record label didn't close down. Basically, Flip got folded into A&M Records. So we had moved over to A&M Records. It was either try to continue writing that record, and back then you got to figure we were a brand new band that never really put anything out, so we just did a lot of road work and toured a lot to build our audience for the 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage record. So Flip didn't Flip didn't close down. They moved over to A&M, and we went with Jordan Schur, who was the president of Flip, and he had became the president of A&M Records, and then Geffen. And we kind of just journeyed around to the different labels with Jordan, and built our community.
Your next two albums after that, 13 Ways to Bleed and Year of the Spider, are the two albums that actually solidified you guys. Like, you got a lot of fans and stuff from that. But personally, for you, which one of those two albums was your favorite?
That's a hard one, man. It goes over time. It changes with me, and different songs from different records and different emotions come up when I'm hearing those songs. They're both a pleasure to play now. So they're both kind of intertwined with each other in a way. Both special records to us.
Right. And then on your fourth album, A Different Kind of Pain, like a lot of critics and people said that album was more somber and downbeat than anything you put out before. Like, did you feel that personally?
Yeah, we got a lot of slack when that record first came out. That was the first time I ever wrote the narrative of that album was very personal. It was literally things that were happening with my sister and going on with my relationship. And it was definitely a somber record. And at the time, I knew it was different than the other records. That's the other thing about Cold. Every album that we make, I don't try to make the same record. At the end of my life, I want my catalog to be filled with a bunch of different styles of production, the sounds, all of the things. Because I just don't, there's a lot of bands that just keep making the same record over and over again. And that's a successful way to do a band. Yeah. However, I'm going the opposite of that. And I'm going to write whatever we want at whatever time we feel what we need to write.
Oh, yeah, brother. All right, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Cold and Orgy are both in Australia for the first time ever this October. So get your tickets now, because I have a feeling they probably won't last.
I don't think so, man. It's going to sell out. But everybody get your tickets. Come on.
All right, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night.
I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Ciao.